I swear my life was normal in the most boring way right up until the Wednesday before my graduation. The kind of normal where you wake up in a cramped apartment in Aurora, Illinois, check the weather on your phone, argue with your toaster, and then drive to work in traffic that makes you question every choice you ever made. It was February 2026 when I am telling you this, but the whole mess really kicked off last spring when my college held its graduation at the big arena out in DeKalb, and I had been counting down to it like it was a finish line I could finally touch. I was not some kid cruising through on mom and dad money either. I was working full-time at a logistics warehouse, taking night classes, dragging myself through exams on 4 hours of sleep, and telling myself over and over that this was what building a life looked like when nobody hands you the blueprint. My family knew what it cost me, or at least they had seen the version of it that showed up on the outside. The late-night texts to my mom that went unanswered until morning. The quick Sunday drop-ins where I did laundry at their place because my apartment machines 8 quarters like a casino. The times I skipped my little sister Kayla's brunch plans because I had a final on Monday and my brain felt like a frying pan. I did not ask for much from them, mostly because I learned early that asking in my family meant getting a lecture about gratitude and how hard everyone else had it. Still, graduation was different. Graduation was the one day I wanted my people in the stands, even if my people were complicated, even if they clapped like it was an obligation, even if my dad's smile always looked like he was thinking about something else. The sudden event that blew everything up happened on a random afternoon at work, right when I was taping up a pallet and pretending my wrist did not hurt. My phone buzzed with a Venmo notification, and I almost ignored it because Venmo is usually just my buddy Marcus paying me back for wings or me sending my cousin gas money. I glanced down anyway, and there it was, bright and casual like a slap. Kayla paid you $20. Note LOL. $20. Lol. Like my whole life was a joke you could toss a tip at. I remember standing there with tape stuck to my thumb, the warehouse lights buzzing overhead, and my brain doing that slow thing where it tries to make a cruel message sound like something else. I told myself maybe she meant LOL like love you lots, which is ridiculous because nobody uses it that way unless they are lying or 12. I clicked into the details, still hoping there was another note, like sorry I grabbed your charger, or thanks for spotting me, or literally anything that felt human. Nothing. Then my mom's text came in, like it had been waiting for the Venmo to land first so the punchline hit clean. Mom text. Hey honey, quick update, we are going to be out of town for your ceremony, but we will celebrate when we get back, okay? Out of town. For my ceremony. Like it was a dentist appointment. I stared at that text for a full minute, and the weird part is I did not feel dramatic at first. I felt empty, the way you feel when you open a fridge and realize someone ate the leftovers you were saving all day. I typed back where are you going because I needed to hear her say it, and I needed to hear her think it sounded normal. She replied almost immediately. Mom text. We are taking Kayla to Greece for her graduation gift, and it is the only week the flights were reasonable and your dad already booked it, so please do not start. That was the hook, man. That was the moment. My graduation, the thing I had been clawing toward for years, got bumped for my sister's trip to Greece, and they did not even try to pretend it was a hard choice. They made it sound like the weather changed and everyone just had to adapt. And the betrayal was not even the Greece part, not exactly. It was the timing, the casual tone, the way my mom wrote, please do not start, like my feelings were a tantrum she was tired of managing. It was the Venmo, the $20 with LOL, like Kayla was laughing as she sent me the price of a couple fast food meals, like my pride was something you could buy off with pocket change. I drove home that night in silence, hands tight on the steering wheel, replaying every time I had shown up for them. The weekends I helped my dad replace the water heater. The time I drove Kayla 3 hours to campus because she missed the bus and did not want to tell mom. The holiday shifts I picked up so I could cover my part of rent without asking my parents for anything. And it felt like all those moments had been quietly stored away in the family vault labeled expected, while anything I ever needed was labeled inconvenient. When I got to my apartment, I sat on my couch with my cap and gown still in the plastic bag by the door, and I realized something else was wrong too. Something I could not name yet. Like there was a secret underneath the obvious disrespect. Like this Greece trip was not just a trip. Felt staged, timed, weaponized. It felt like somebody wanted me to know exactly where I stood. Act 2. I tried to handle it like an adult for about 12 hours, which is my personal record when I am hurt. That night I called my mom and I kept my voice steady because if you raise your voice in my family, that becomes the story instead of what they did. I said I got your text. I said I saw Kayla's Venmo. I said, is there a reason you are treating my graduation like it does not matter? My mom sighed the way she always does when she wants to turn your feelings into a chore. She said you are being sensitive. She said Kayla is graduating too. She said Greece has been Kayla's dream since she was little. She said we will do dinner when we get back. She said you are a grown man, you should understand. Then my dad got on the phone, and I could hear the TV in the background like my pain was competing with a basketball game. He said, son, do not make this into a thing. You know your mother gets stressed. We already paid deposits. It is non-refundable. Also, Kayla worked hard and she deserves something special. I said I worked hard too. I said it is one day. I said you cannot move a graduation ceremony. I said I just wanted my family there. And my dad, in the same tone he uses when he talks about changing oil, said you will be fine. We will watch a clip. Send pictures. Besides, your sister is young. This is her time. That line did something to me. This is her time. Like my time was expired. I hung up before I said something that would turn into the new family legend about how I am difficult. I slept maybe 2 hours. The next morning I went to work, and I tried to focus, but my brain kept circling back to that Venmo note. It was the part that made it feel personal, like my sister was not just benefiting from favoritism, she was enjoying it. So I called Kayla on my lunch break. I expected maybe she would sound embarrassed. Maybe she would say she did not know our parents were skipping my ceremony. Maybe she would say the Venmo was a joke that landed wrong. I wanted that version so badly you would have laughed at me if you saw it. Kayla answered with music blasting in the background like she was in a car with friends. She said, hey, what is up? I said the Venmo was weird. She laughed. Actual laughter. Like she was proud of the bit. She said, oh my God, you saw that. It was funny, right? Like here is your graduation gift, bro, $20. I told her it did not feel funny. I told her our parents were missing my graduation. She said, yeah. And then she said it like it was the most obvious thing in the world. We are going to Greece. I told them I do not want to go without them. They said it is fine, you are just walking across a stage. Just walking across a stage. I said, do you hear yourself? And she hit me with the line that made my stomach flip. She said, I mean, you already have a job. You are not like going anywhere. Greece is once in a lifetime. Once in a lifetime. Like my degree was a participation ribbon. I felt my face get hot, and I said something like you are being cruel. I said you could tell them to come to my ceremony and go after. I said you could at least apologize for making a joke out of it. And Kayla said sorry you are mad, which is not an apology. It is a dare. Then she said I have to go, we are trying on outfits for Athens. She said Athens like she was tasting the word for attention. I hung up, and I sat in my car in the parking lot, staring at the steering wheel, because I realized I did not just have a family problem, I had an enemy problem. My sister was not clueless. She was comfortable. She was confident. She knew the hierarchy and she liked being on top of it. The conflict escalated fast after that because once they saw I was hurt, they started managing me like a PR crisis. My aunt texted me about family being everything. My cousin sent me a meme about first world problems. My mom started dropping little guilt bombs like your dad has been working so hard, or you know Kayla has anxiety, or you do not want to ruin this for her, do you? Then the worst part happened. A week before graduation, my mom posted on Facebook this big mushy status about how proud she was of her baby girl for graduating and how excited they were for Greece, and she posted pictures of Kayla holding her cap and gown, smiling like she had just been crowned. There was not one word about me. Not one. Under the post, relatives commented congrats Kayla and so proud and look at you go. My mom replied to everyone like she was hosting an awards show. Kayla replied with hearts and plain emojis. I felt invisible, man. But not in a sad way. In a dangerous way. In the way that makes you stop trying to be seen politely. I started thinking about that Venmo note again, and a darker thought followed it. Kayla did not send me $20 to be nice. She sent it to poke me. She wanted me to react so she could call me dramatic. She wanted the family to rally around her as the victim of my feelings. And then I found the thing that made it worse. My buddy Marcus, who works in IT and knows how to find information like it is a hobby, Texted me late one night after I ranted to him over tacos. Marcus text. This Greece thing is not just Greece. Check your email. I opened my email and saw a forwarded confirmation from a travel agency. The subject line had Kayla's name and my dad's name. Marcus added a note. Marcus text. I should not have access to this, but your dad used the same password on something he asked me to fix last year. Bro, they booked first class for them and economy for Kayla. Also, the trip overlaps your ceremony by exactly 2 days. They could have made it. They chose not to. I read it twice. First class for them. Economy for her. And they could have made it. So Greece was not even for Kayla the way they claimed. It was for them, wrapped in her name like a gift tag, and my graduation was the convenient excuse to not deal with me and still do what they wanted. That secret underneath the obvious disrespect finally had a shape. I felt something settle in my chest. Not peace. Something sharper. Act 3. I did not plan revenge like a movie villain. I planned it like a guy who has been disappointed too many times and finally decides he is not going to be the quiet one anymore. The unexpected ally was not some mysterious stranger. It was my coworker Jasmine. And if you ever met her, you would understand why she became the person who helped me flip the whole situation. Jasmine is the kind of woman who tells the truth with a smile. Like she is handing you medicine you will not like but you need. She is in her 30s, has 2 kids in elementary school, and somehow still has energy to run circles around everyone at work. She saw me zoning out by the loading dock one day and said, "You look like somebody stole your dog. Tell me what happened." So I told her. I told her everything. The Greece trip, the Venmo, the Facebook post, the fact that they could have made it, the way my family was twisting it so I looked ungrateful. Jasmine listened, nodding slowly, and when I finished she said, "Okay, here is the deal. You are not crazy. They are playing you like you are a prop. If you keep trying to argue privately, they will keep rewriting the story. You need a moment they cannot edit." I said, "What do you mean?" She said, "You need to tell the truth where they cannot pretend it did not happen." Then she asked a question that felt like someone turning a light on. She said, "What do they care about most?" I did not even have to think. I said, "Appearances." Jasmine smiled like she had been waiting for me to say it. She said, "Then you hit them in the appearances." I told her I was not trying to ruin anyone's life. I told her I just wanted them to show up. I told her I wanted my mom to look at me like I mattered. Jasmine said, "Honey, that ship sailed when they booked first class. You can either accept their script or write your own." And she said something else that stuck with me. She said, "Do not confuse being nice with being silent." That night I sat in my apartment with my graduation program on the table and my phone in my hand, and I thought about what kind of moment could not be edited. My family loves group chats, loves pretending we are close, loves posting about milestones as if showing up online counts as showing up in real life. I thought about how they would probably post a generic congrats to me after the fact, maybe a picture stolen from someone else, and then tell everyone they supported me. And then I remembered something my school was doing, something I had barely paid attention to in all the graduation emails. The ceremony was going to be live-streamed, not just recorded. Live-streamed. There was going to be a live chat feed too, because the school wanted families who could not attend to feel included. Real-time, public, uneditable. That was the key. I started putting pieces together, not like a mastermind, like a tired guy building a shelf from instructions he does not fully trust. I texted my friend Marcus and asked if he could help me set up a clean stream on my phone in case I needed it. Marcus replied with a plan in 5 minutes because he lives for this kind of thing. I also asked Jasmine for advice on what to say, and she told me to keep it simple and factual. No screaming, no insults, no rambling. She said if you stay calm, their panic will do the talking for you. Then, 2 days before graduation, I got the final push I needed. Kayla posted a TikTok packing video, and in it she flashed her Venmo screen like it was cute, and I saw my name in her recent transactions with the note LOL. She had turned it into content. She was proud of humiliating me, and she wanted strangers to laugh too. That was when my sadness burned off and left clarity behind. So I made a decision. If my family wanted a story, they were going to get one, but it was going to be the truth. Act 4. Graduation day came, and the morning felt strangely calm. The way the air feels before a storm when birds act normal and you wonder if you imagine the forecast. I put on my cap and gown in my apartment, and I stared at myself in the mirror longer than I expected, because I wanted to remember this version of me. The version who finished something hard. The version who did not need permission to be proud. I drove to campus early, parked, and walked across the quad with other graduates, all of us pretending we were not nervous. I saw families in the distance holding balloons and flowers. I saw dads in polos taking photos like it was a duty they actually liked. I saw moms fixing crooked caps with gentle hands. I tried not to look too long. My phone buzzed with a text from my mom. Mom text. Good luck today, honey. We are about to board. We love you. Board. Like she was sending a postcard from the edge of my life. Then Kayla texted me a selfie from the airport. Sunglasses on, coffee in hand. Kayla text. We will watch the live stream if the Wi-Fi is good. Congrats. LOL. There it was again. Lol. Like a signature. I put my phone on silent and walked into the arena. The ceremony started with speeches, the usual stuff, and I sat there listening with half my mind while the other half replayed every detail of what my family did. I kept thinking about the live stream link. I kept thinking about how my mom would probably comment in the chat with hearts and proud mom stuff like she was present through pixels. When the dean finally started calling names, my heart started pounding, because no matter how angry I was, I still wanted someone to clap for me. I wanted that sound. It is embarrassing, but it is true. I wanted to feel like I belonged somewhere. My row stood up and moved toward the stairs. I could see the stage, the bright lights, the big screen showing graduates shaking hands. I could also see the live stream camera set up near the front, a little red light blinking like a witness. This was the greatest challenge part because I knew that if I went through with it, there was no undo button. If I stayed quiet, I would graduate and go home and feel hollow, and my family would keep believing they could do whatever they wanted as long as they tossed me a little affection afterward. If I spoke up, I would break the family illusion, and they would never forgive me for ruining their version of themselves. My name was coming up fast. I could hear the announcer reading the last names before mine. I took my phone out, opened the live stream, and clicked into the chat. It was full of families typing congratulations and proud of you and emojis. I scrolled until I saw it. Mom in the chat. So proud of you, sweetheart, we are watching live. Watching live. From a plane to Greece. I felt my hands shake for a second, and then I remembered Jasmine's voice. Simple and factual. No screaming. I typed one message into the chat, and I knew the camera might not show it on screen, but the chat was public and archived. People would screenshot it. People would share it. My family could not erase it. I hit send. My message in the live stream chat. I am graduating today and my parents chose to skip the ceremony so they could fly to Greece. My sister sent me $20 on Venmo with LOL as my gift. If you are watching and you think this is love, please remember that love shows up in person. My stomach dropped right after I sent it, like I had stepped off a cliff, and then something wild happened. The chat reacted in real time. Not everyone, but enough. People started replying. Some said what? Some said that is heartbreaking. Some said congrats anyway. A few said family is complicated. One person wrote your success is yours, not theirs. Then my phone started buzzing in my pocket like it was possessed. I did not look right away because my row was moving and my name was next. The announcer called my name, and I walked across that stage with my head up, shaking hands, smiling for the camera, feeling like my chest might split open from adrenaline. When I stepped off stage, I checked my phone. Missed calls from mom. Missed calls from dad. Missed calls from Kayla. Texts stacking up so fast I could not read them all at once. I opened the first one from my dad. Dad text. What the hell is wrong with you? Then my mom. Mom text. Delete that right now, you are humiliating us. Then Kayla. Kayla text. Are you serious? You are ruining everything, take it down. Ruining everything. Not apologizing. Not saying we are sorry we hurt you. Just panic about the mirror I held up. I could feel the whole arena around me, cheering for other graduates, families hugging, and in the middle of that joy my phone felt like a swarm of angry bees. My hands were shaking again, but this time it was not fear. It was something like power mixed with grief. My family had spent my whole life acting like my feelings were inconvenient background noise. Now they were hearing it over a loudspeaker they could not mute. Everything seemed lost in the sense that I knew there was no going back to the old pretending. But I also felt this strange inner strength, like I had finally stopped begging for a seat at a table that was never set for me. So I made the decisive move. I went live, not on the school stream, on my own phone on Instagram Live, because that is where my family lives, where they curate their little highlight reel like it is a second job. I titled it something simple so it would pop. Graduation Day Truth. I held the phone up so people could see the arena behind me and the graduates streaming out. I kept my voice calm, even though my throat felt tight. I said, "Hey, I am not doing this to be dramatic. I am doing this because my family keeps rewriting the story when they hurt me. Today was my graduation. My parents chose a Greece trip over being here. My sister sent me $20 on Venmo with LOL like my accomplishment was a joke. I posted it in the live stream chat because I am done being quiet. Viewers joined fast because drama travels faster than pride. People from high school, co-workers, cousins, even my aunt. Comments started rolling. Is this real? Bro, I am proud of you. That is messed up. Your parents are wild for that. Congrats, man." Then my mom called again. My phone tried to interrupt the live, and I declined it in front of everyone. I could feel my heart pounding, but I stayed steady. I said I am not answering private calls anymore. If they want to talk, they can talk like adults, not like people trying to pressure me into silence. That is when my dad texted something that made me laugh out loud. Not because it was funny, but because it was so perfectly him. Dad text, "We paid for your school." He did not. I paid for my school. Grants, loans, my paycheck, my overtime. But he said it like money was his favorite excuse. So I read it out loud on the live. I said my dad just said they paid for my school. They did not. I worked full-time and went to class at night. The reason this hurts is not because I wanted gifts. It is because I wanted them to show up. Showing up is free. And right there in the middle of it, Kayla did the thing that proved everything I said. She requested to join the live. I accepted because at that point, why not let the truth speak for itself? Her face popped up on screen. Airport behind her. Bright lights. The hum of travel. And she looked furious. She started talking fast, saying I am embarrassing, saying I am jealous, saying I always make things about me. She said it is just a ceremony. She said Greece is important for her mental health. She said the Venmo was a joke. I did not raise my voice. I said, "Kayla, you made the Venmo a TikTok. You wanted people to laugh at me. You have been laughing." She said, "No, you are twisting it." So I asked her one question, calm and slow. I said, "Did you ever tell Mom and Dad you wanted them to be at my graduation?" Kayla paused, and that pause was loud. She finally said, "I told them you would understand." That was the climax inside the climax. That was the confession. Not that they could not make it, but that they counted on my silence to make it acceptable. I said, "There it is. You assumed my feelings do not matter. You assumed I would swallow it. I am not swallowing it anymore." Kayla cursed at me and dropped off the live. And the comments went nuts. People were stunned, and some were cruel, and some were supportive, and I saw my mom's username join for a second and then leave like she could not stand to watch herself on a screen she did not control. Act 5. The resolution did not come with a movie ending where everyone apologizes and hugs it out under soft music. Real life does not do that. Real life is messy, and even when you win, it can feel like you lost something you did not know you were still hoping for. After the ceremony, I went out with Marcus and Jasmine and a couple coworkers who surprised me by showing up with a cheap bouquet from a grocery store and a card covered in messy signatures. We ate burgers at a place near the highway, and they made me laugh, and for a few hours I felt light again. Like maybe chosen family is not a cheesy phrase. Like maybe it is a survival skill. My parents did not call me that night, which was honestly a relief. My mom texted a day later from Greece, and the message was cold. Mom text, "I hope you got the attention you wanted. You broke my heart today." That line almost worked on me, because guilt is my family's native language. But then I reread it and noticed what was missing. No apology. No accountability. just her heartbreak at being seen. My dad sent one message that week. Dad text. Do not contact us until you are ready to act like a man. Act like a man, meaning act like a doormat. Kayla blocked me for a while, then unblocked me long enough to send a paragraph about how I ruined her trip and how her friends saw the live and how I made her cry in the airport. She never mentioned my graduation once. She never said sorry for the Venmo. She never explained why LOL was funny. The family group chat went quiet for 2 months, which in my family is basically a famine. Then relatives started trickling in with private messages, the careful kind where they act neutral but want details. Couple told me they were proud of me. One aunt said your mother has been crying. A cousin told me Kayla's TikTok got deleted because people kept commenting about the Venmo. That last part made me feel something complicated, because I did not want strangers dogpiling my sister, but I also could not pretend she did not swing first. Here is the part that makes it a bittersweet triumph. I did not get the family I wanted. The live did not magically turn them into better people. If anything, it forced them to choose between change and pride, and they picked pride. But I did get something else. I got my own story back. I stopped waiting for their approval like it was a stamp I needed on my forehead to be real. I paid off a chunk of my student loans that summer, not because my parents helped, but because I kept grinding like I always did. I applied for a promotion at work and got it, and when my manager shook my hand, it felt more sincere than anything my dad has said to me in years. I framed my diploma, and I put it on the wall where I can see it every morning, and sometimes I still get mad thinking about how my mom was not in the stands, but then I remember I still walked across that stage anyway. The open ending, the part that keeps me thinking even now in February 2026, is this. Was I right to expose them live, or did I become the kind of person my family always accused me of being, dramatic and difficult and too loud about my feelings? Some nights I replay it and wonder if there was a softer way. Then I remember the Venmo, the LOL, the Facebook post with no mention of me, the plane tickets they could have changed but did not, the way they only cared once other people saw. And I land on the same moral dilemma every time. If silence protects the people who hurt you, is silence still kindness? Or is it just surrender wearing a friendly face? Finale Part 5 Aftertaste Reflection. If I am being honest with you like I would be over a late-night drive or a kitchen beer, the live did not fix my family, but it fixed something in me because for the first time I stopped auditioning for love from people who only clap when it makes them look good. I do not know what happens next. Maybe my mom will call one day and actually say sorry without wrapping it in blame. Maybe Kayla will grow up and realize that being the favorite is not the same as being right. Maybe my dad will stay stubborn until the end, and I will have to grieve him while he is still alive, which is a weird kind of grief nobody teaches you. But I do know this. I graduated. I earned that walk. I earned that moment. And if the people who were supposed to be there chose a beach and a boarding pass instead, then they do not get to rewrite history afterward and call it love. Love shows up, even when it is inconvenient, even when it is not glamorous, even when it costs you something. And yeah, I still have that Venmo screenshot saved, not because I want to stay bitter, but because it reminds me of the day I finally stopped laughing along.